After 28 years, it's time to finally return to the grid in Tron Legacy. Released in 2010, this sequel to the 1982 classic follows Flynn's son Sam, who travels to the grid to find his long-lost father, Kevin. And once there, he must defeat an evil program called Clue, who, despite the fact that he looks like a young Kevin, don't be fooled. This program is totally an asshat, as he wants to leave the digital bounds of the grid and strike out in the real world. Seriously, who does that? Get back in your game. In this sequel that was a long time coming, the question is, did Tron Legacy live up to the hype and do justice to the original movie? Well, that depends on the eye of the beholder, but I think it did, for sure. So it's time to explore this underrated sequel as we look into 10 things that you didn't know about Tron Legacy, which, as the poster's tagline suggests, it's no longer a game. Let's check it out. Number 10. Cult movie triumphs. Our story begins in 1976, when a filmmaker called Steven Lisberger plays a video game called Pong, which was new and innovative for that time. Now, this new medium of entertainment intrigues and excites him, and inspires him to write and direct Tron. The original Tron is released in July 1982, and despite being a technical marvel in that it was one of the first movies to use computer animation, and is still to this day a visually captivating movie, of which would earn 2 Academy Award nominations, it was still a disappointing box office flop, as it would only make $33 million in the States. Much lower than anticipated. Despite this though, as the years pass, Tron starts to get more recognition. Its appreciation increases with time, to the point where it would reach cult status. Suddenly there was now an appetite for a sequel. Rumours of a sequel started to circulate as far back as 1999, with whispers that Pixar would be working on a sequel. Then in 2003, a video game called Tron 2.0 came out, and furthered the speculation and interest for a Tron sequel. It may have taken a while for the greatness of Tron to be fully realised, but finally, 20 odd years later, the demand was now on for a sequel. Number 9. The Wizard of Oz of a post-Matrix world. Plans for a Tron sequel started to move forward with Disney in 2005, with film and television producer as well as president of production at Walt Disney Studios, Sean Bailey, becoming the movie's producer. Bailey himself was a fan of the original movie, having seen it with his father when it was released. Over several years of negotiations, Joseph Kosinski was hired as director, with Tron Legacy being his first feature film. Up at that point, he mainly directed commercials, particularly for video games and Taco Bell. But he also had a reputation for being something of a wizard with computer graphics. Kosinski was originally hesitant, but grew to become more enthusiastic for Tron Legacy. Actor and sometimes filmmaker Brian Klugman helped to come up with the story of Tron Legacy, and Edward Kitses and Adam Harowitz would write the script, as well as the Pixar team also contributing to rewrites. The creator of the original Tron, Steven Lisberger, would come on board as producer, but he didn't want to interfere with the production too much, feeling the technology had changed a lot in 30 years, so he kinda felt a bit too old. So had him and his team gotten involved more with the production, he said that he would have felt like Clint Eastwood in Space Cowboys. The writing team took inspiration from The Wizard of Oz, in that its main theme is trying to get home. There was also an emphasis on this being Tron of a post-Matrix world, while also trying not to emulate that kind of technology. Several religious themes would also be used for inspiration, including Christianity and Buddhism, as well as the story of Joan of Arc. Number 8. Concept film. So it seems that producer Sean Bailey and director Joseph Kosinski had conflicting visions of what Tron Legacy should be, and how the world of the grid should be presented in the movie. Given how long the movie had been stuck in development, that probably could have been the end of Tron Legacy. Also keep in mind that round about that time, Bailey was also getting ready to make a remake of fellow classic sci-fi Disney adventure, The Black Hole, which incidentally didn't end up happening. So to demonstrate his vision, Kosinski asked Bailey for some funds in order to put a concept film together. You know, kind of like a test demonstration of what the movie would be like, so it would truly show his vision of Tron Legacy. The trailer showed a light cycle battle, as well as Jeff Bridges in both his old and young form, and it did capture the look and feel of what Tron Legacy would become. The short film / trailer was shown at San Diego Comic-Con in 2008, and the movie was titled TR2N. The letter O is replaced with a 2, aka Tron 2, and it received great responses from the audience. And so, due to all the positivity from the concept film, the following year in 2009, the Tron sequel was officially greenlit and got the title of Tron Legacy. I can remember at the time when this concept trailer came out, there was huge excitement and buzz, with fans saying, yeah, come on, make this movie, yeah, let's go, let's make this happen. So really, the short concept film actually really did work. Without this concept film, there may not have been Tron Legacy. Number 7, casting possibilities. So Tron Legacy now focuses on Sam Flynn, the son of Kevin Flynn. The original choice for the part, according to IMDb, was Casey Affleck, and negotiations took place, but scheduling conflicts got in the way. Other actors considered for the part include Ryan Gosling and Chris Pine, till Friday Night Lights actor Garrett Hedlund got the part. Other members of the cast include Jeff Bridges in a dual role, where he played an older Kevin Flynn who's been living as a hermit in the grid. And I can't help but feel like his appearance is something of a callback to The Dude, as well as the movie's villain Clue, who takes on the guise of Flynn at the age of 35. Olivia Wilde played Cora, Flynn's apprentice, who I swear I didn't recognize in that black bob hairdo. Cillian Murphy has an uncredited appearance as Edward Dillinger Jr., son of Edward Dillinger from the first movie. And Michael Sheen played supermodel program Caster. And the first time I saw Tron Legacy and saw him, I thought, oh wow, they got Simon Pegg in this. And of course, electronic group Daft Punk have a cameo, but more on them later. Number 6, Yori Lives. Originally, Tron Legacy wasn't going to feature the character Bradley, who was played by Bruce Boxleitner, who played Tron and Bradley in the original movie. This caused something of an outcry among fans, who felt that Boxleitner should return for the sequel. So because of the fan backlash, the character Bradley was written into Tron Legacy. However, fans still weren't entirely happy, as word got out that Tron Legacy wouldn't feature Cindy Morgan, who played Lorna Baines and Yori in the original Tron. This actually started an online fan movement called Yori Lives, in a petition to have her added to the sequel. But sadly, this outcry by fans wasn't successful. However, Morgan was still thrilled and touched by the fan admiration. And it's explained that she's married to Bradley, so I guess she's there in spirit? Number 5, bringing Clue to life. Tron Legacy was filmed in Canada, namely Vancouver, British Columbia, with most of the filming taking place on sets in a studio called Burnaby. The special effects of the movie were provided by Digital Domain, and they made the world of the grid in Tron Legacy look truly amazing, just as awe-inspiring as the original movie looked in the 1980s. Seriously, the look of this movie is gorgeous. I also really love and appreciate how it looks like the world of the grid has evolved and become more organic, as if it's increasingly replicating the real world while still having its digital landscapes. We then get to the character Clue, the villain of the piece, who looks like a much younger Jeff Bridges. The part of Clue was performed by actor John Reardon, and the plan was to have Reardon wear molds that resemble a young Jeff Bridges while performing, with CGI enhancements being added in post. And Rick Baker was brought in to work on the molds, but the studio weren't happy with the molds that were made as they wanted the character to look younger, so it was decided to recreate Bridges' face entirely digitally. Now, I'm not good at the technicalities of things, so I'll do my best to explain. 2 takes of Clue would be made, one with Bridges himself performing the character, and then another take with Reardon, who would copy Bridges' exact movements. Bridges would have to wear a special helmet that had 4 cameras pointed at his face in order to capture all his facial mannerisms, as well as dots being all over his face in order to create the de-aging, and then that digital footage will be placed over Reardon's face. Yeah, once again, I'm not good at the technicalities. The look of young Bridges was not taken from the original Tron, but Bridges' performance from the 1984 movie Against All Odds. And look, the young digital Jeff Bridges is okay. It's a huge improvement from the younger Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator Salvation, which came out 1 year earlier. But it's still not quite there yet. To me, it still looks a little animated, and the eyes look a little bit dead. Seriously, they just can't get the eyes right. But the technology is definitely getting there. Number 4. A popular electronic band created the music. The score for Tron Legacy was indeed composed by French electronic duo Daft Punk, in order to create a unique soundtrack which mixes electro with orchestral. And yes, they create music that goes perfectly with the exciting digital visuals of the movie. Daft Punk were apparently huge fans of the original Tron. In fact, they were so enthusiastic, they started composing the music before the movie's production even began. The electronic double act would even release their Tron Legacy tie-in album called Tron Legacy Reconfigured, of which would reach number 1 on the Billboard Dance Electronic chart. They even released a music video for the song Durezd, and the music video is awesome, with plenty of amazing Tron visuals, looking like a hybrid of visuals of both the original Tron and Tron Legacy, as we see light cycles in full swing. It's great. And the music video also features Tron Legacy actress Olivia Wilde. Yep, just as with the visuals, the music is definitely a major highlight of Tron Legacy. Number 3. Tron Legacy was a Disney first. So to help promote Tron Legacy, it was merchandise galore, including action figures, jewelry, bags, shoes, as well as other items of clothing. And of course you got your usual tie-in video games, in this case one called Tron Evolution, as well as a graphic novel called Tron Betrayal, which acted as a prequel to Legacy. Disney would even open pop-up Tron Legacy stores. Yep, they got their own stores for all fans out there who just needed their Tron fix and to get as much Tron goodies as they can. Heck, there was even a Tron Legacy themed monorail. Now you know you've made it when you've got your own monorail, which could be seen at Walt Disney Resort in Florida. Playboy magazine even did a Tron photo shoot tribute in celebration of Tron Legacy called Game On. Even though this wasn't an official tie-in and was more of a homage to the movie, this still technically made Tron Legacy the first Disney movie to be promoted by Playboy. Well, I guess there's a first time for everything. Number 2. The future of Tron. Tron Legacy isn't the last we've seen of the Tron franchise, far from it. A short film called Tron the Next Day was added to home media releases of Tron Legacy in 2011. The short film is a direct sequel to Tron Legacy, and it presents itself as both a short film but also a mockumentary, with the events of Tron the day after, well, literally taking place the day after the events of the movie. And then in 2012 and 2013, there was an animated series called Tron Uprising, which explores the events in between Tron and Tron Legacy, where we follow a character called Beck, who was voiced by Elijah Wood, who is trained by Tron to lead a revolution against Clue. The show featured the return of Bruce Boxleitner, who lent his voice to Tron, as well as Lance Henriksen and Paul Rubens, and even Olivia Wilde returns as Cora. Now, ever since the release of Tron Legacy, there have been whispers of a third Tron movie. Seriously, in the years since then, it's been like 1 minute it's happening, then it wasn't, then it was, and then it wasn't again, and oh, look over here, it is happening. Oh, no, false alarm, it isn't. But is it? I don't know, it might be. Who knows? And yeah, this is usually a sign of production hell. But apparently, just like with Tron Legacy, there was a huge fan movement for a third Tron movie. And it does seem like it's finally happened, as in 2025, a third movie will indeed be released called Tron Ares. And it stars Jared Leto. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll let you decide. I would say I'm excited, but after Disney's recent handling of Indiana Jones and Willow, we'll see. We'll see. Number 1, The Legacy of Tron Legacy. I think that Tron Legacy is one of the first Legacy sequels, which is quite common now to have unexpected sequels to movies over 30 years old. And once again, although it's quite common these days, back then it was kind of groundbreaking to have a sequel to Tron, a beloved classic 28 years later. I don't think anyone really saw this sequel coming, but were delighted when it arrived. So Tron Legacy was released on the 30th of November 2010 in Tokyo, with the States following in December, with Tron Legacy being presented in IMAX 3D. The movie was very financially successful, making $400 million on a $170 million budget. It also got nominated for Academy Award for Best Sound Editing, but lost to Inception. However, sadly, Tron Legacy got mixed reviews from critics, with its visuals and out-of-this-world environments being praised, while the more human element of the story being seen as a letdown. And, shockingly, Tron Legacy only has 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. However, I think in time it has increasingly become a cult classic, very much like the first movie, where just like that film, it was shrugged off by many but appreciated more with the passing of time, really living up to Tron's, well, legacy. Call me crazy, call me stupid, call me Dave, I actually prefer Tron Legacy to Tron. I just love the look of the movie and how immersed you feel in this strange digital world when watching it. I find the action to be more exciting and proactive, and I find Clue to be a really interesting and complex villain. So to me, Tron Legacy is one of those rare occasions where a sequel is better, or at least lives up to its original. Once again, in my opinion. It may have taken a long time to return to the grid, but I think that when you experience Tron Legacy, it's clear that the wait was worth it. I really do adore this movie and find it so visually pleasing. And I think that most of, if not all, Tron fans were on board with Legacy and also loved it. As for Tron 3, will it be good? Will it be bad? Will it be woke? Will it be sad? In the meantime, we'll just have to go with the flow, because my name is Minty and it's time to go. See ya!